Anthony, back to Solanke! The birthday boy gets a birthday goal. And Dominic Solanke just can't stop finding the back of the net. Trying to get some energy into their forward play. Little link up with Billy, that's nice. And now David Brooks into the box. Shoots into the back of the net, David Brooks. It was Solanke, in fact, with the link up, and David Brooks fired it across Sandbar.
Good Tuesday afternoon, early evening to everyone. Cherries Red Army, Kirk here, and this must be the latest match preview we've ever done. But with a quick turnaround in the Championship, midweek now, we thought, why not? Let's go live and let's anticipate what might happen just on top of kickoff, because those lineups are going to be out very soon. We're going to react to them as we see them and give our thoughts. And of course, we want you to interact in the chat. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitter. Put your thoughts in the chat. We'll show as many as we can on the screen and we'll get ready for kickoff, because we're going to want to know your score predictions at the end of this show. We'll close it out just before kickoff. Now, if you're one of the 900 nearly that watched our latest match day vlog against Fulham at the weekend, limbs, absolute limbs, thank you very much. And help us subscribe as we try and get to 1,000. Only 4 games left of this season. So we're currently at 906. New to the channel, watching this for the first time, please hit that big red subscribe. Also hit the like button on this video. That really does help. And if you weren't able to watch this live, but you've gone back maybe after the game and watched it, we appreciate that. Let us know your thoughts in the comments about the game, etc. So could be a big night in the Championship, not just for the Cherries, but there's another game going on with Fulham and Forest. So we'll touch on that, because maybe one eye will be on that game. But we're going to focus on the Cherries to start with. We're about 12 minutes away from those lineups coming out. I've got Jon Spark backstage. Should we get into it? Match preview of Swansea versus Bournemouth.
Which he does. Leif Davis is crossed. Solanke! What a finish! And let's give a big up to Leif Davis, in from the cold. A pinpoint cross, but what about a finish?
Good evening, Jon Spark. How are you? The latest match preview I think we've ever done, but reminds me a bit of lineups live last season.
Yes, I suppose it does. And, you know, we're not going to be doing a watch along today, obviously, because this match isn't available through legal means today. Unless you are in Swansea, you don't have a chance of watching this today. So going to do our best to at least bring something enlightening today before the match.
Or overseas potentially. But yeah, that's right. We did want to do a watch along, but we thought that it probably wasn't possible on the YouTube. So we've gone with this reaction prior to kickoff, and we'll try and get reaction to you after the game, because Steve Hensman is there. But John, as we always do on these match previews, we do react to that last fixture for the Cherries, and it was Bournemouth 1. Fulham won, just about. And interestingly, I have said for quite a few weeks now that there's nothing in between, I don't think, with supporting Bournemouth at the moment, and especially Scott Parker. You're either very frustrated or you're absolutely delighted. And we were one kick away from walking out of that stadium on Saturday thinking we didn't make the keeper work again. Bournemouth won, Fulham won, a good point in the end.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a deserved point based on how the game went. I mean, I actually sent out a tweet which then deleted like a couple of minutes before full time, or before the penalty, rather, just saying I was surprised at how apathetic I was to a 1-0 loss. Admittedly, because a point doesn't necessarily make a huge difference in terms of us getting away from Forest, because they're still doing very well for themselves. But yeah, I think it was a better game in terms of the way that we managed to pretty well shut down Fulham in comparison to how it was the last when we went there, when we were on the back foot for pretty much the entirety of the second half, and didn't really do all that much in the first half either, apart from a couple of decent chances. But there is again the sort of frustration that there weren't that many shots. We might have done well up until the first 2/3 of the pitch. When we got to the final third, there wasn't a lot going on. I was very frustrated with Jadon Anthony coming off because I thought he was the only one that was doing anything good. Was off with half an hour to go when Ryan Christie had once again been rather ineffectual for long periods of that match, but still played the full 90. Things up a little bit. He did at half time, took off Billing, who may have had a slight knock but wasn't performing, put on Jamal Lowe and went to the sort of 4-4-1-1. And we looked like something might happen. I thought the press was very good. And on another day, we might have won that game. We definitely could have done. And had it not been for literally a millimetre, we would have won that game at the last second. So, feel sorry for Mark Travers on that one, because it was an incredible save on paper, but or rather, the game it was an incredible save. On paper, it's not a save. So it's a shame for him on that one.
Definitely. Let's just see who's currently joining us then on this early match preview, but late as well, shall we say. It's Mark Singleton, not able to join us tonight. He's a Cherries Red Army supporter member. He's got work, but he's gone for a 2-1 to the Cherries. We'll get your score predictions later on in the show. We've got Mike Irwin from the States, also a Cherries Red Army supporter member. Let's go the Cherries. Got Mark Cole. Stu's joining us, the vlogger, looking for an easy win. We've got Steve Connor. Wayne, the Fulham fan, he's got one eye on Fulham tonight and one eye on the Bournemouth game. Got Chris Hubble, we've got Paul joining us. Steve's also mentioning that there might be some news about Kiefer Moore. Got the vlogger, and we've also got Stephen Dyer down there. Good evening, the Cherries. Now, John, should we relive that moment at Dean Court in the North Stand? It's part of the match day vlog where Solanke stepped up under pressure. What pressure? 27th league goal this season. Let's relive it again. We live for those moments, don't we, John? And maybe there's just a few more to come with 4 games to go, you reckon?
Yeah, proper limbs. And certainly we're in good position to see them again. I did like the chant that was already going on before he even took the kick of Dom Solanke, used to be Scouse, etc., etc. So a lot of confidence, which is good. Especially as I imagine there were a lot of people that weren't prepared to see that one actually come in and were hiding behind their hands of how important it probably felt at the time.
I think I did tweet actually at the time. I can't watch. I did watch it. I had the camera, so I had to make sure I was watching it and had the camera in the right place. But yeah, I very much was nervous and put it away. And I've spoken to fans actually since then that have said they walked out on 94 minutes. Never leave early. Never leave early. Win, lose or draw. You've got to stay to the end. And they were out in the car park as that went in. But there we go. We move on to Swansea. There's going to be some interesting conversations potentially in about 5 minutes' time, John. I was speaking to some people after the game about just breaking that game down a bit on Saturday and looking at the likes of Ethan Laird, good player. I think he goes back home a little bit too much for me. Maybe that was the team in front of us on Saturday. I didn't think he was very expansive until we were 1-0 down. And I'm not sure he's an upgrade on Jack Stacey. There's a connection for Ethan Laird with Swansea, the same for Jamal Lowe. I'd play Stacey tonight, though. Are you in that sort of frame of mind as well?
I personally think it doesn't really matter too much who plays at right back, because we're not getting the best out of whoever plays at right back combined with Christie. And the main reason for that is because we don't have the right-sided centre fielder isn't combining with them well enough. In most circumstances, that's Lerma on that side. But weirdly, against Fulham, Lerma was played on the left and Billing was played on the right of the midfield three, which baffled me. Still does, because as you could see from just, what was it, almost the last kick of the half, Billing trying to play a simple straight pass to Adam Smith at left back and miscues it by about 20 miles. He just couldn't do a thing right in that game for some reason. And he couldn't combine with Laird, couldn't combine with Christie, anyone for the forward. It's just, I'm amazed how much Billing's form has dropped off a cliff. And was taken off at half-time quite rightly. The whole reason why we did so well at the start of the season was that Billing, Anthony, and Zamora access on the left-hand side, and we didn't have the same thing going on the right. Marcondes drifted too much in and out of games early on, so wasn't combining brilliantly with Brooks was at the time, and Stacey or Smith, whoever played there. If you can get a nice combination going, as I think Stacey and Christie and Lerma at times did sort of in the middle, maybe sort of 2-3 months ago, we got something going down the right hand side. But now Christie's basically just stuck out on his own. It can only seemingly only comes onto his left foot and gets tackled every time. We do need more happening from the likes of Laird at right back, but I do feel as though it's being probably what he's being told to do. I don't think he's being encouraged to push too far up. He's far more likely to shift into sort of the defensive midfield position, even when we're on the ball. And one of the reasons why he was so good at Swansea is because just give it to him, let him take on his man, and just watch him work. And we haven't done that. And I don't understand why you even bother bringing him in when you had two right backs, one of who was performing well, the other you favour above every other in Adam Smith. Bringing in Ethan Laird just felt like a really odd signing, and it's shown to be, not really have much of an impact. He's been okay since he's come in, but I don't see why Stacey couldn't have been.
And there's Ethan Laird there. So he's got himself into the team. I was happy to see that because I wanted to see the player. We potentially had a player that did very well in the first part of the season for Swansea. But yeah, not quite seeing what I wanted to see at the moment. But he's not really doing anything wrong at the same time. Let's just have a quick look then. AFC Bournemouth have tweeted that they are there. And it's a lovely day today. It looks nice in Wales. There is your Swansea.com stadium, as I think it's called. Some may know it as the Liberty Stadium previously, but that is the stadium. And it looks like he's been spotted tonight, John, and that's Kiefer Moore. And maybe we're going to see him on the bench in about 1 minute.
Yeah, I mean, it has been broken by on Twitter that he's involved in the squad, that he's in the squad. It's certainly that he's travelled at the very least. It's sort of implied that he might well be in the squad. I think if he wasn't going to be, it would be odd for him to travel. And having only just moved from Cardiff, it would be quite poetic if he were to come on and score a goal to maybe win the game against Swansea. But we have a very good record against Swansea and against Russell Martin as well this season, obviously. So, there's been a lot of talk on Twitter about it being sod's law, that this being the day that we fail against them. But they are on a very good run. They're on the longest unbeaten run of the Championship at the moment. You look at SofaScore and you can't see an L in the first page of results. So, they have drawn their last 3 and they do look weak defensively, but they're scoring goals. And that's what we've got to watch out for today.
It's that moment an hour before kickoff, John, when everyone starts refreshing their phones. And if you're at the stadium, you're like trying to get signals somewhere just to get those lineups through. And we will get them as soon as we have them on the screen. We will go through it with you. And I'm sure you'll let us know in the chat as well. But as I'm refreshing my screen to try and show it on the screen, yeah, Russell Martin. I don't mind playing a Russell Martin team. As you said, those sort of stats are there to be broken as well. But he came to town with MK Dons in the cup. There was 5 put past an MK Dons side. And then obviously it was the 4-0 earlier on in the season, which it took us about 20 minutes to get going. But once we did get going, we comfortably won, didn't we? And I'm going to start refreshing that screen, John. But I don't think it'll be a 4-0 tonight.
No, I don't think so either. I'd be very surprised if it was, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we did put in a strong performance and win, because I think I've spoken about this. I think it might have been against Swansea, possibly might have been against Huddersfield, when I just talked about how, or even the likes of, say, Barnsley last season, no, that was Coventry, that was it. I've spoken about how, if we're going up against a team that like to play like us, we have the bigger squad, the bigger budget, the on paper better players. If 2 teams try to play the same style, it's the team that has put more money into the squad that's going to win the vast majority of times, and that's what it's proven to be the last 4 years that we played Swansea. So or going back even further. So yeah, interesting to see now the squads. I think you should hopefully have it up by this point, Kirk.
Yep. So let's go with Swansea first. Let's just get the Swansea lineup out of the way. Normally, when we used to do these lineups live, as you know, John, we were prepared, weren't we? We had about 15 minutes to get ready for it. But this time, we aren't prepared, but we're going to go for it because we try and be as professional as we can. And let's get the Swansea team out to start with. And then we hopefully will get it on SofaScore in about 15 minutes, and we'll have a look at how that sort of looks like on a football pitch. But for Swansea, it's Fisher, Cabango, Norton. Oh, go on, John, have a go at that one under Norton.
What, Latibodiere?
There you go. Brilliant. Christie, yeah. Downez, Grimes, Manning, Wolf, Perot, and Obafemi on the bench. Hamer, unfortunately, because he likes to concede a goal against Bournemouth. Ogbeta, Congreve, Fulton, Smith, Cotterill, and Joseph. Quick reaction to that one then, John, and we'll have a look at the SofaScore pitch later on. But that is a Swansea side that's unbeaten in 8 and drawn the last 3.
Yeah, that looks like it's the exact same team that played at home and saw a 1-1 draw out against Middlesbrough. I wasn't aware that Carl Norton had shifted to a centre-back, although, when an experienced fullback gets a bit older, it does make sense for them to shift into a wide centre-back role in a back 3. So, Wolf has been one that I've been hearing the name of a bit more recently, and has been, getting some decent numbers together. But what surprised me was Joel Perot. I had no idea. I'm pretty sure he's on 22 goals this season, which is ridiculous. And especially as there was one particularly well-known Championship YouTuber who made a prediction that no player would hit 20 goals this season, and we've already had at least 3. We might well have more after then, including one that's obviously breaking every record in the book. But they've got a lot of firepower up front. Obafemi's actually younger than I thought he was, of course, on loan from Southampton, isn't he? So I'm sure he'll get a warm reception from the Bournemouth fans. I'm absolutely positive of that. But yeah, Matt Grimes in the middle, obviously a very good player as well. So it'd be a tough task, but there's definitely ways we can get at them.
Okay, so we've got the AFC Bournemouth team ready. Then you probably know it if you're on Twitter or the socials or looking on your Sky Sports app. But I'm going to show it on the screen. We're going to discuss it. Let's have a look at your AFC Bournemouth team to take on Swansea in the Championship this evening. It is one change from the weekend. It is Mark Travers in goal. Phillips, Laird keeps his place at right back. Cook, Kelly, Lerma, Solanke, Christie, Adam Smith, Jamal Lowe comes in for Billing, just like he did at half-time against Fulham, and Jaden Anthony likely off the left. Woodman on the bench, Mepham, Brady, Pearson, Billing, Dembele, and as you might have heard, Kiefer Moore is on the bench, and what an option he is. One change then, John, probably expected, because as you've said, 1 goal and 2 assists from Billing since January has not helped him stay in the side.
No, and the other first thing I'd look at is the fact that Todd Cantwell hasn't made the bench, which surprises me, considering, admittedly, Cantwell hasn't got a goal for us yet, and has he got an assist for us yet? I'll let you know. I'm not really has. So, but I mean, numbers wise, there's that argument to say that you put Billing ahead of Cantwell, but I just think in terms of the player themselves and the kind of form they're in and the kind of performance they've been putting in, Cantwell doesn't sit below Billing in my pecking order at the moment. But if you're going to bring in more, you've got to take out a player, and I suppose it was probably going to be Billing or Cantwell that would make the bench, and it's looking less and less likely we're going to take up any kind of option to buy Cantwell at this rate, as much as I would prefer him to be in there at the moment. I was very close to getting this one right. I had Dembele on the left instead of Anthony. I thought he might change it up a little bit more, but I got 10 out of 11. I did predict Lowe would come back in for Billing. And this is the exact same team that started against Coventry, which is a good sign. And that was a difficult away performance, to put it mildly, for long periods of that game. But we did win 3-0, despite completely undeservedly being 2-0 up at half-time in that match. So if it follows a similar suit this time round, then I think we're all going to be absolutely delighted with that kind of result. But I'm pleased with this team. I think it's a sensible choice, and you're going to need the energy of Christie and Anthony on the wings to help track back those wing backs that I imagine will be getting bombing forward for Swansea.
Christie playing for both teams. Love that, Steve. And Mark Collins, I'm calming down with a mixed kebab, chips and a Coke. Wonder what you're drinking tonight. Hopefully we'll be drinking in some Championship. Love it football, shall we say. And hopefully we're one step closer to the promotion. Yeah, great talking point. Didn't see it straight away, and you did. And I've banged on about Todd Cantwell, but not in the side tonight. And there's maybe another conversation to be had at the end of the season about that one. Another player that's been spoken about highly at the moment is Lewis Cook. Jacob Tanswell's also brought out a piece about him recently leading up to this game. And I did come off the back of that saying, and we spoke about it before, John, that I felt like Lewis Cook was always playing within himself and almost worried about putting himself in an area where he could get hurt. He's had two real setbacks of injuries that were long term. And I felt like in this period he's in now, picking up man matches most weeks, he's almost playing with freedom and almost without fear. And he's blossoming in the role that he wants to play in. And we're really benefiting from a fantastic Lewis Cook, who was brilliant again on Saturday.
Yeah, and I mean, I was talking to you about this and everyone else on Cherries Red Army that Lewis Cook being played in an 8 just did not suit him at all. It didn't make any sense. When you consider, you've only got to look at who he started the season with in number 6, was Gavin Kilkenny. And I think it was quite clear he was almost the perfect stopgap to get to when Lewis Cook comes back in the team, because his game is almost entirely modelled after Lewis Cook's. In the way that he was playing it, and you could just see that position was made for when Lewis Cook comes back in the team. Obviously he did, and was, I can't remember which game he came back in, almost his first game back from injury, played in the number 6 and wasn't great. And Parker made the switch up to put him to an 8 and make Lerma the deeper line player to bring a bit more solidity. And Cook utterly suffered as a result. He had 2 months of pretty much dreadful football because, like you said, he wasn't getting forward to provide the work of an 8, but when he got on the ball, he wasn't really providing the right passes either. It just wasn't working for him. Now, he has the freedom of the middle of the park to do whatever he wants with the ball whenever he gets it, because he's that good on the ball. If you're an opposition manager, you've got to look at Lewis Cook and say, we stop him, we stop Bournemouth. He's so important to how we play and how we spread, how we get the ball wide and get moving. Yeah, I think there's only one or two performances in the last maybe 2 months that I would say he wasn't man of the match, and even when he wasn't, he was still the best outfield player, and it was Travers getting man of the match instead. So it's like it's just been all about Lewis Cook for the last 2 months or even longer, and he has been exactly what I hoped he would be when he found form again. And now that he has, you've just got to hope that being in the position that he's in, there's less physical responsibility on him getting up and down the pitch. It allows him to put the energy in where he needs it rather than having to be 100% all the time like the Lermers are. So he can be a little bit more relaxed. He can take it a bit easier at times, but he puts in so much work for the team as well. And I mean, his intelligence and match intelligence as well. He got booked in the first minute against Fulham. I don't think he committed a foul afterwards. So he played that brilliantly. Whereas you might have worried about other players. Certainly Lerma. If Lerma gets booked in the first minutes, you're absolutely cacking it that he's going to get sent off the match. Lewis Cook, no problem.
Come back to that in a moment as well about him being booked in the first 45 seconds, because the referee performance on Saturday was just not good enough. I mean, I could use other words, but I'm not going to. But we need to come back to that because we're in a pivotal part of the season now where there's money involved, there's club history involved, and we just want the referee to do a job that's been asked to do and not play an influence in potential results and outcomes and, losing points potentially. We'll come back to that in a bit though. Talking about Swansea and interestingly how we might set up tonight, John, and we'll try and get those lineups on the pitch to see what SofaScore's saying for Swansea's formation and the same with ours, because I expect Christie might tuck in potentially, but we'll have a look in a moment. With Fulham, it was more like we sort of counteracted each other, I thought, and it was who was going to score first would enable the next team to sort of kick on. And in this game, we know that Russell Martin's going to want to try and play out from the back. Errors leading to goals from Swansea are 6 this season, and ball possession 64%. So would you be happy tonight to not have ball possession just like against Coventry, but be quick in turnover and clinical in the final third?
Well, that would be the ideal. But it is difficult if you're playing in a 4-4-1-1 like we will be tonight to press a back three efficiently, because you've got essentially 4 attackers with maybe you could push Lerma further up, but you've essentially got 4 attackers and they've got 5 defenders and the goalkeeper. So there's almost always an additional option. The way to press is never always push forward and try and get the ball back at every second, because you just don't have the energy to do that an entire match. You have to set up pressing. It's something that Parker has, I think, tried to implement more for Bournemouth. The kind of pressing that we were doing pre-season just isn't feasible to last a whole season. So, you have to be sensible about where you press. Swansea have become a lot better at playing from the back. It's taken them most of the season, but they've got better at it. There are still vulnerabilities, though. And to go up against Swansea and not press at all would be opportunities missed, because there are mistakes in there. And it's whether we capitalise on them or not. And with Lowe being in, you could say Lowe is probably in good form at the moment with the kind of performances he put in the last month. And Solanke being, as the 27 goal scoring machine that he is, we'd be pretty confident in taking advantage of any mistakes that they make.
And 2 former Swansea players are in the Bournemouth side tonight, and they're going to be up for it. I'm sure of that. And we'll have to see how the Cherries get on. Let's just go into the chat for a moment. We've got some extra fans joining us, and AFC Bournemouth Germany have said Steve Cook is in the starting 11 for Forest. Maybe you can do us a favour and score a couple of own goals. I was thinking this the other day, actually, John, that there's probably one person that can't lose in this scenario, because if Bournemouth go up, secretly, I reckon he'll be happy with it. And obviously, if Forest go up, he'll be happy as well, because he'll be playing Premier League football again. I mean, is he the only guy in the Championship that wins?
I'd say Sam Surridge is probably right up there as well.
Yeah.
Sorochu is now the rest of the season. I think Keelan Davis is injured the rest of the season. He's actually a starting striker now for Forest. He obviously scored middle when he ran. And I mean, I did BBC Radio Stoke when he joined Stoke City and said, look, you put the ball in behind, you give him plenty of crossing, give him opportunity.
So what we might do, John, just got a bit of Wi-Fi feedback. You are freezing on us a little bit. So what we'll do is we're going to take a look at that Fulham and Forest lineups as well. We might get some Swansea reaction very, very soon before we get those score predictions later. We'll go to a quick ad. We'll see if John can just refresh his Wi-Fi, and we will see if we come back. We're just having a little bit of a lag at the moment. So hit that subscribe button. Also hit the like. We're not going anywhere for the moment. We're 45 minutes away from kickoff, and we'll keep talking Bournemouth, Swansea, and Forest, Fulham, and we'll see if the Cherries can get a win tonight and a step closer to promotion back to the Premier League. Okay, John, are you back with us? Can you hear us okay, John? Can you hear us, John?
Yeah, I can hear you just a bit. The connection's not great.
Okay, so hopefully, we hope it sort of comes back to us a little bit better, but stay with us then. Looking at some other stats in this game that could influence Swansea, maybe. Out of all the goals they've scored this season, 54. Perot's got 20, as you said. Obafemi's got 11. Patterson's got 9. But they scored 12 goals outside of the box, John, to Bournemouth's 4. Now, that is a big stat for me because even Dom Solanke, who scored 27, has not scored any outside the box this season. And we know that Ryan Christie has struggled to find the back of the net as well. And when you're looking for a game and a goal out of nowhere, they're few and far between for Bournemouth, and maybe Swansea can hit some perlers from 20 yards out.
Yes, there's certainly that. The interesting thing is obviously if you go back to last season, we were the highest scorers from outside the box in the entire league, and that will, that'll come down to what the manager wants you to do. And for Parker, shots outside the box aren't really a thing that I think he encourages. He prefers the particular situations to be developed. And Jacob Tanswell has spoken before about how he wants things to be sort of perfect in the way that he develops goals. But yeah, I think it's better if, as long as we're focusing on stopping them from shooting outside the box, we'll obviously do a lot better. But yeah, I think it's not too much of an issue. I think for me, as long as we're doing our jobs, we'll create opportunities and hopefully get that goal that we need to win the match.
That goal that we need. There was 4 earlier on in the season when it was Bournemouth 4, Swansea 0. They're a better side nowadays, and we can't even get SofaScore to load the lineups on the screen, just like they used to do for Lineups Live last season. Not even SofaScore is up to speed and helping us out tonight. but it's fine. We continue as we do, and it looks like we've lost Jon as well. So this is all going to plan, and we got to make sure that Bournemouth turn up tonight and don't have any issues with freezing or connections or passing off. But let's see if we can get Jon back into the stream. Back with us, Jon? Are you back with us, Jon?
Yep, the connection's still not great, but I'll try my best.
Hopefully it's just us tonight, Jon, and not Bournemouth. Hopefully they have better times in Swansea tonight rather than us. They're currently struggling in Bournemouth and Manchester. Can't find your luck at the moment. If you can hear me then, Jon, let's talk about Kiefer Moore. Absolutely no preparation for this match preview for Kiefer Moore, Jon, but a player that was brought in from Cardiff that was maybe a plan B option, someone that could definitely add value in the box, and could be someone that just turns up at the right moment when we need him in this final stages of the Championship. Did you get that, Jon? There we go. So we try and bring you live streams where we can, and Jon is struggling. But I tell you what, if you do need a saviour, don't worry, because there's someone else who's just helping us out now. So as Jon's struggling with his Wi-Fi connection, Steve Hensman is coming to our rescue from Swansea outside the stadium. Let's see if we can get in touch with Steve Hensman. Let's see if you've seen those lineups. Steve, how are you?
Hi, mate. No, I'm not outside the stadium, unfortunately. We're still in the Landor Social Club having a pre-match pint, so nice. Not quite there yet. How you doing?
Your timing is impeccable because Jon's Jon's Wi-Fi is letting him down, and it's not quite working. It's normally my Wi-Fi. Tonight it's Jon's. So brilliant timing. You're helping me out here. Fantastic. Safe trip up to Swansea. Nice weather.
Yeah, no, it's good. It was an easy drive up midday. Well, we left at sort of 2 o'clock-ish, so the roads were pretty clear. It was quite an easy drive up. Sorry, I'm getting a filler from a certain Mr. Sam Davis here.
Hi there. Can I hear it? Can I
yeah, you can listen in.
I'll take an ear.
Oh, I gave you the wrong one there, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
The legend that is Sam Davis. How are you? Live on YouTube, Cherries Red Army. How are you?
I think we got the wrong way,
mate. All these headphones are awful. Hello, mate. You all right?
No worries. Live on YouTube, Cherries Red Army. How you doing, Sam? The legend.
I can't hear you.
Yeah. Oh, can't you?
No.
Oh, is mate,
I'll do you afterwards. I'll do when you're done. Give me a shout.
Sorry, let's stop messing around trying to do all sorts of things. Go on, go back to me.
This is like the greatest match preview live show we've ever had. And
we're professional here. We're professional. We're always prepared.
Let's get straight into it. Have you seen the lineups?
I have seen the lineups. Yes. One change, isn't it? Low for Moore. Sorry, low for Billing.
Low for Billing. That's
with Moore on the bench.
And Moore on the bench. Surprised to see Kiefer Moore back in the side, and surprised to see Billing drop back to the bench.
Not surprised to see Billing drop back to the bench, because I think Lowe's deserved a start. His numbers, he backs himself up with numbers, and Billing wasn't great in the game. I thought he was probably one of the worst performances the other day. So I'm not surprised with Lowe coming back in. The odd one is Cantwell not making the bench. That's interesting. I've said before that I've heard rumours that he's not entirely happy here. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it would sort of say that there's something not right with him in his head, that he can't even make the bench. So I don't know what that's about. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a strong enough side to go and win this game. I don't see any problems for us tonight. Personally, I'm quite positive on this one. I think we're going to do it easy 2-0.
If there's ever a side that you want to play at a crucial time, with we knowing that there's a Forest Fulham game going on at the same time, it's Swansea. Haven't lost in 10. Swansea not even scored against us in 7. I mean, this is right up our street, and a Russell Martin manager who doesn't tend to do well against a Bournemouth side.
Sorry, mate, what did you just say?
I was just saying that if there's a good time to play a football team, it'd be Swansea, a team that we haven't lost to in 10, and they haven't even scored against us in 7. And Russell Martin very much struggles to manage against Bournemouth.
Yeah. We were saying this earlier that we can't remember the last time we actually lost the game against Swansea. I can't think of when it was. And like you said about Russell Martin not knowing how to manage against Bournemouth, he was in charge. Was all right, thinking he was in charge of the MK Dons side.
Yeah,
and he actually deployed this open tactic.
Yeah,
where their keeper was playing it out from the back. If they do that tonight,
is that lasagna? Was his name?
Ravioli.
Ravioli, his name
was. Or whatever. But you know what? I genuinely think, and like Kirk, I said this against Coventry on social media and stuff. I genuinely feel confident. And sometimes you've got this bravado that you should feel confident, but today I actually do. I think we will get a result, and in a weird way, more of my focus is going to be on what happens at Craven Cottage today.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Right. That's the caveat, isn't it?
Because I think we'll do what we need to do.
Yeah. I think, I'm totally with Sam. I just don't think we're going to struggle at all tonight, and it's basically what happens to the teams around us.
Sam, quickly, we've got Steve saying podcast crossover. We've also got Paul saying 2 top YouTube's price of 1, Back of the Net and Red Army. Obviously, subscribe to Back of the Net, but you will be already, of course. And you just mentioned a few things there, Sam, about how we can maybe hurt Swansea. We talked about Swansea wanting to dominate the ball. I said to John that they've given away 6 goals from errors that they've caused themselves. And they do like to play out from the back, and we got to press well, and we got to try and hurt them in the turnover, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I genuinely feel like, the way we're like set up looks as though we're going to do what we did in the second half against Fulham. Dom Solanke's going to be a little bit deeper, and I'll tell you where he is. Where's Tom?
He's up there.
He's over there. I won't pan round because that's a compromising shot if I was to do so. But you know what? I think that part of the sort of thing of playing low up front is that it sort of confuses their defenders because they've all planned to play Solanke. And I genuinely think that being a little bit deeper, he can offer a bit more. We know the quality on the ball that he's got. I think we could cause some severe problems. And Jamal, I mean, what an astute signing Jamal Lowe's been. Probably our signing of the season in many ways. I know a number of people will say Ryan Christie, but I genuinely think he's been absolutely superb because he's always delivered. His goal to game ratio, I don't know what it is, but it must be really,
it's right
really
up there.
It has to be. And I would back him to score tonight. Probably wouldn't back him to celebrate. I'm not sure against his form club. What would you do?
I would always celebrate. I would always celebrate a goal. I'm a centre back. I don't get many to try and celebrate when I can.
But no, mate. I think they're an open side, and they're there to be got at, similar to Coventry. So I'm looking forward to this one, and I haven't said that for many games this season.
And we've hopefully got John back with us as well. You're back firing on all cylinders, John.
He's back in the room.
No idea with my internet connection.
Okay, no worries. I'll just take you up for the moment, John, while I just get a score prediction from Steve and Sam. We hope you enjoy the game. Obviously, make sure you check out Back of the Net because they'll have fan cams at the end, I'm sure of that. And score prediction, Steve, for this game. How are you feeling?
Like I said, I was quite positive with this one. I've already given a 2-0, so that's what I'm going to stick with.
Sam, they are unbeaten in 8, drawn the last 3. Hard to break down, not going to be as easy as it was earlier on in the season. Do we win tonight?
Is Sammy Nell watching?
She's got work, I think. I think she checked in for the first part, but she'll probably watch it back.
You know what? I was going to do a 3-1, but as she's not, I'm going for a 2-0 instead. So, yeah, I do think that we will get a significant, I think it'll be 2-0, like a 2-goal margin either way. So I'm happy with that. And, mate, you may have another voice that's about to come on. Someone who will chew your ear off. Are you happy to wait?
Oh, get him on, or her on, whoever
Here
it is.
He is.
Here he is.
What
shirt have you got on, Tom? What shirt have you got on, mate?
What season is this? Like 2014?
Harry Arter.
That was the year before we went up.
Yeah, first champ season.
Tom, Jordan, always on an away day. Big, massive AFC Bournemouth fan. Championship, big game tonight in the Championship for two football teams. And we were just talking about how good we are against Swansea. They don't score many against us, haven't scored against us in 7. Are you confident going into this game?
I am, mate. Yeah, I think I've been here a few times and we've got a good record against them. It feels like we have anyway. And you've probably spoke about it, but how expansive they are, I think will suit us. I think it will suit us. I think they'll come out and try and play. They haven't really got much to play for. And I think we should be able to get in. So, yeah, I'm hoping so, mate. But I'll take a scrappy 1-0 Kiefer Moore every day of the week.
And we've got Paul here. What's he saying? Where in the strip we got promoted in last time? Good omen. We were also talking about not leaving a football match early, Tom, because of that 98-minute equaliser from Dom Solanke. And you've missed too many goals being in the concourse. Just stay until that half-time whistle at least.
It works, Kirk. It works. All right. I've left off 30 minutes and I think I've missed nearly 20 goals. But that's it's a good record. I'm going to keep doing it. But I'll never leave early at the end of the game. But yeah, just before half time, Dom normally pops up. So I'm happy to miss one, mate, if he does it again today.
Dom Solanke, 27 league goals. Perot, 20 league goals. Obafemi from Southampton on 11. We want to score prediction out of you, Tom.
I'm going to go Russell Martin this season. We beat him 5-0 when he was at MK Dons. 4-0. Swansea, so I'm going 3-0. I'm going to go 3-0. I'm going to go confident. I'll take a scrappy 1-0, but I think we'll open them up today. As long as we keep the back door closed, I think we'll be fine. So I think I'm going to go 3-0.
AFC Bournemouth are playing in green tonight. And Rich Neal would like a wave before you go, Tom.
We were talking about you earlier, Rich. So shame we haven't got you on another away day, mate. Wasn't it, Steve? You were saying you miss him on an away day, yeah.
Definitely. Far to go? How far are you away from the stadium from where you are?
About a 10-minute walk, mate. Yeah, so we'll head off shortly. So yeah, it's all good here. We've got a lot of cherries here, mate. So we're looking for everyone's in confident spirits, which I'm not sure is good or not, but hopefully, mate.
Brilliant. Right, enjoy the game. Have a safe
trip
back home. Bring the 3 points home, Sam. And
we will do, mate. And look, you've seen 3 dishes on screen. I'll leave you with another one.
There you go. And I'm going to bring back Jon Spark, hopefully with a good connection for the final part of this show. Enjoy the game, lads. Get those 3 points, will you?
Up the chairs.
Come on, Jon Spark. How is that connection doing? Come on, last part of the show. Where are we?
No idea, but let's see what happens.
It looks like you are fine right now. What I'm going to try and do is bring up the Nottingham Forest Fulham lineups just to see what's happening. Maybe have one eye on them. SofaScore is also playing ball with us right now, and we're going to show those lineups on the screen because if Fulham do us a favour, John, and we get a good result tonight, we're nearly there against Blackburn, aren't we?
That'll be the hope, without a doubt. 7 point, I think, is it 7 points would basically guarantee it? No, 8 points would mathematically guarantee it. But, you know, two wins on our next 2 and then drawing against Nottingham Forest would seal it. You know, as long as we're keeping a decent distance, then we should be fine. But, yeah, we've got to hope that Fulham do us a favour, and they certainly haven't gone easy in that team. That is the same team except with Bobby Reid coming in that played us, I believe. So yeah, fingers crossed that Fulham aren't able to do the business against Fulham at Craven Cottage.
So there'll be some phones being refreshed in Swansea tonight as Bournemouth are playing Swansea, and they'll be keeping an eye on that Fulham Forest game. We'll be watching it as well. And I was worried that if Fulham beat us on Saturday, they might go into this game a little bit half-hearted. They'll never admit to it. But now maybe they've got to put a little bit more effort in. We've been bringing you guests throughout the show. We've been bringing you mainly Bournemouth guests. However, it's only fair that maybe we get a perspective from a Swansea fan. He's been on the channel before. It's Luke from Swanscast. We're very grateful for coming on. How are you, Luke?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. Hope you can hear me. I've literally just got in, so I'm hoping everything is working fine, but thanks for having me on.
You are absolutely fine coming through. And have you seen your lineup yet?
I did manage to glance here while I was sitting in the car waiting for the partner to come finish from work. Unchanged, I think, from last game. So
interesting to know. And the last time we spoke, when this should have happened, not only for the Storm, you're not as good. You were sort of win lose on a bit of a run like that. You're now 8 unbeaten, drawn the last 3. You seem like you're a better side. You probably should have beat Reading, and this is going to be a little bit harder than the game earlier on in the season, you'd say.
Yeah, it's different circumstances now, isn't it? Like, you guys, is it the one you need to go up if you win this one?
Not quite,
guaranteed,
nearly.
But you've got Nottingham Forest knocking on the door. Forest and Cooper knocking on the door. What could have been, eh? But yeah, it's for us though. It's important that we just finish the season strong. We had a bit of a roller coaster season, like when we spoke last time. I think it might have been before the game that was postponed. Perhaps was it? We had a chat. Yeah. So after that as well, we went through a bit of a rough January, February. Wasn't the best. Bit of a turning point in the South Wales derby against Cardiff when we smashed them. Got the first double ever in that fixture between either club. Massive bit of history for the derby. And we haven't lost since. So like you said, it's 8 undefeated, 4 wins, 4 draws. Probably should have been more wins. And I'm not disappointed because we weren't really in the playoff picture. But when you look at the last 3 games, and realistically, Barnsley at home, and we should have won against Reading, as you just said, we could have been in that playoff picture. But I think that says how much we've improved in the last couple of weeks, that we got ourselves involved, even on the outskirts. Whereas a couple of weeks ago, people were frustrated. A lot of people were like, it's not working, get a new manager in. Just how fast things can change is it's quite funny, isn't it, in this league?
Definitely. John, they don't seem to be on the beach, annoyingly. They do seem like they're going to continue to play into the last minute and maybe gain some momentum into pre-season and next season for them in the Championship under Russell Martin.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, I think, for Swansea, because Russell Martin was never going to be a manager that got his ideals into the team inside less than a season. And I think that particularly defenders, he needs a specific type of defender, and I don't think that Swansea necessarily had that to any real degree at the start of the season. Whereas obviously you've had one transfer market, but you've also had a whole season worth of coaching. What do you think, Luke, going forward in terms of obviously, do you think that Russell Martin is completely convinced the squad and the fans that his method, obviously it harkens back to your Brendan Rodgers' type of attacking possession based football as well? Is this something that the fans are fully behind? You think you will be able to bring in a few more players to sort of boost you into maybe a playoff push next season?
I think in regards to the fans, they are a lot more on board than they were probably 2 months ago. I've always been fine with it. Like, I always knew it was a process myself and in our podcast, but there is a lot. I guess you see a lot more of it online, don't you? You always see the ones that are shouting the bad stuff louder than the ones that are more passive and happy to wait. But there's definitely been a mixture of like people who are patient and people who are like, it's not working, we should be doing better. Look at where Steve Cooper is. He's pushing Nottingham Forest up to nearly second place and all the rest of it. But I think when the club made this decision, the decision was made that we're going in for a process. We're looking at a bit of patience and building something. So I think in terms of the squad, I think they're all on board. And I think one big sign of that was Mac Rhymes signing a new contract. There was a lot of rumours about him leaving in the summer. We all thought it was pretty much nailed on, and then he didn't go, and it was still like, oh well, he's going to go on a free then, isn't he? Like, we just didn't cash in on him, and then he signed a new contract out of nowhere, like no one was expecting it. That's a big bit of business for me, and I think that highlights, because he's the captain, he must trust Russell Martin to want to sign a new deal when he was so close to potentially going Premier League or Fulham was the one he was really close to going to, and he would have been going to the Premier League next season as a result. So that's a massive statement, and I think the squad in general now is on board. I think especially after this recent run of football where we've had the 8 games undefeated, the bit of history that's been made with the 2 wins against Cardiff. Like, I know I mentioned it earlier, but it is a massive thing for us, honestly, and the players know that. They know they've been part of something special there. And I think, going back to the fans, that game is kind of like where maybe the people who weren't sure now are happy to be patient, now are happy to give a bit more time. And there's noises coming out now that he's said all season, and I've said as well when I've come on here before, wait till next year. He wants a year. He said, judge me next season. Let me have my time to get it right, and I'll show you what I can do in next season. And if the end of the season is anything to go by, I think he deserves that chance, and it looks like it could be positive, like you said, going into the next season. So I'm quite excited, as long as it's a quiet transfer window in terms of outgoings, perhaps, but we'll have to wait and see on that one.
I think it's time to maybe get some score predictions going in the chat before we talk about some match winners in this game. Let's get them in the chat. You're going to get about 2 minutes to let us know how you're feeling about this game. It'll probably be heavy Bournemouth because it's a Bournemouth channel, but put your score predictions in the chat. And as you're doing that, I'm going to come to Luke. We've touched on a bit of this ourselves, but there are match winners all over the pitch. We've heard that many times in the Championship. It was Solanke versus Mitrovic on Saturday. Tonight, it's Solanke versus Perot. I'm sure he's starting. I can't remember what he read out. But yeah. Perot starting on 20 goals. Obafemi on 11. Patterson's a player that looks like he's back turning in performances, I'm hope to say, after maybe he was on his way out, although I don't think I see him actually in the lineup.
He's not there. He's injured, yeah.
So I'll take that back. So Ebafemi and Perot, match winners all over the pitch. And look, credit to Perot. You're 14th in the league, 54 goals, and he's got 20 of them.
It's been a bargain, honestly. I don't think anyone expected that. I think it was around $1 million, the fee we paid for him. 22 years old when we signed him. Not really had a season of first-team football anywhere, coming from the Dutch leagues. As people are going to be sniffing around him in the summer, and a bit worried, to be honest. But 20-goal striker, to unearth someone like that, like, he's at his best, worryingly for you, when he's not the forward striker. He's kind of like an outside of the box striker, and Obafemi then is an inside of the box striker, which is why their partnership is working so well. So people double mark Perot, it gives a bit of space to Obafemi, and then people are like heavily marking Obafemi because he's knocked a couple of goals in, and all of a sudden Perot's knocking him in from outside the box. So it's working very well for us, yeah. So I'm quite excited to see them both playing.
We talked about that link with Southampton for Obafemi as well. Let's get your score predictions in then. If you're still putting them in the chat, they'll filter through. We'll show them on the screen because we're going to get John's. We're going to get Luke's. We've already had Steve, Sam's and Tom's who are live in Swansea tonight. Mark Cole, thanks for joining us for this match preview right on top of kickoff. He's gone for a 2-0 to the Cherries. Cameron Meach's gone for a famous Cherries Red Army 3-1. We got another 3-1 from Steve. Paul's going for a confident 4-0. Stephen is also going for a 3-0 after that 1-1 draw against Fulham at the weekend. Now, Luke, I don't like to bring it up, but you know I'm going to do it. There's going to be banter, and at some point it's going to change. But we've had these discussions before, and I know that your colleague Lee on Swanscast Media loves this stat, and he wants to break in. I think he's at the game tonight. Swansea haven't beaten Bournemouth in 10 matches against each other, not even hit the back of the net in the last 7. This has got to change for you at some point, hopefully not tonight.
I love how many times you've reminded me of that. It's only been a year since we've been. I think we started our podcast last January, and I think 3 times now that you've told me that stat, and
it's going to bite back at some point,
It's still going on, but maybe it's the time that it ends tonight, isn't it? But I think it's going to be another draw, to be honest, for both of us. You've had a couple recently as well, but at least we'll score. So I'm going to say 1-1.
Have you got your goal scorer in mind? Is it Perot?
No, I'm not going to pick either of them this time. I'm going to say the goal scorer is going to be Hans Wolf, playing on the other flank instead of Patterson. So he's been quite lively lately, starting to get a little bit more involved in some of the attacks. So
I'm sure I'm going to hear from you and Lee when that stat ends, but we'll continue with it. And the Championship, as it will bite back at some point. Hopefully not tonight. John, have you got a score prediction for tonight? Strong side, 1 change. And we've also got Kiefer Moore on the bench, former Cardiff City striker.
Yeah, I think when you look at the way that Bournemouth, and I think I brought this up before, that Bournemouth have historically done well against Swansea because we played very similar styles, but tend to have either the bigger budget or have spent more on players. And I think that's pretty much sort of how a lot of our times against Swansea have come and gone. But this season, it's a little bit different. And as things currently stand, Swansea are in the better form. Having said that, you've got to look at this our team being the one that played against Coventry, where we were on the back foot for at least an hour of that game, and we managed to win 3-0. Swansea aren't the same as Coventry by any means, but they do like to play the game a similar style in terms of getting the ball down and passing it around very nicely. So I'm still pretty confident that we can get more than just a point from this game. I think Swansea probably will score, but I think we will win. And I'm going to go with 3-1.
And I agree with you in regards to, I think Swansea will break that stat of not scoring in 7. I think they score tonight, Swansea. I think we need to score first. I think you've only turned around twice after conceding first, Luke. So I think if we score first, there's a good chance we might win this game. But I am going for Swansea to score. I am going for a Cherries win, though. I think we might just be a little bit too strong. And I am going for 2-1 to the Cherries. Quick thoughts from you then, Luke, as we close out this match preview so we can get ready for the game. Kiefer Moore, does he worry you? Former Cardiff City striker?
Has he played anything since he's got injured? First game,
he played 5 minutes. I think he came on against Peterborough, then he broke his foot, and this is his first sort of time back after breaking his foot. So not sure we put him on the pitch unless it's desperate.
Well, he never done anything against us for Cardiff, so maybe a change of colour will help him out. But he plays well in red for Wales, doesn't he? So yeah, maybe that will do him some good. But I just want to acknowledge something quick in the chat because they're talking about my background. It is a background. My house isn't this nice. There's some DIY going on behind me, so just thought I'd cover it up. That's all. But saw that bit of talking in the chat. Just wanted to say.
And someone else that might be of interest to you tonight is Ethan Laird. He has finally got himself in this Bournemouth side. I don't think I'm quite seeing the Ethan Laird that was maybe at Swansea. He's not that progressive at the moment. He's not overlapping as much as I'd like him to. Good player, very likeable guy with the fans. Afterwards against Fulham outside the stadium, he was all smiles and chatting for ages with the fans. But Ethan Laird, I mean, and Jamal Lowe in the side tonight, and they'll be up for it. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, I think Led, he's got a point to prove maybe, and we're better to do it than the club that, you could say controversially, it depends who you're asking, ended the loan and then goes somewhere else. Hasn't really had a chance to get in your team, as you've said. So we're better to make a statement, isn't it? Like, there's quite a few close calls with penalty appeals, with him getting into the box being a bit tricky for us, that he never got a penalty. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if he does something today and gets it, but this time for the other team, because that's just our luck with penalties this season. As for Jamal Lowe, he did well for us last year. He got himself in the history books with 2 goals against Cardiff. So I think he'll always be well respected, but obviously got a new team now. So again, it's always good to go somewhere where you used to play and put on a good show. So I think he scored as many for you as what he did for us last year. So again, it's something to prove. You've got something to play for in terms of your promotion hopes and trying to seal that, or at least get close to sealing it. So I think they'll both be up for it, and it's just that extra bit of like motivation, so could play into your hands a little bit, I think.
Fantastic. Luke, it's always great to talk to you. I know there's good banter. We're just going to put Robert's scoreline in there as well. 2-0 to the Cherries. I don't think it's in the description. I will put it in afterwards. But Swans Cast Media on YouTube and Twitter. Go and check them out. Great guys. Are you covering anything for this game afterwards? Just in case?
I don't think we're going to be able to get one out this week, but next week we'll probably touch on the game in next week's podcast. Unfortunately, life and work's getting in the way this week, so we're going to have to postpone. But thanks for having me on. It's been great to chat to you as always.
And Jackie Hanslip has said, Pyro Danger Man for Swansea. No, great to have you on, Luke. Take care. Enjoy the game tonight if you're able to catch up with it.
Yeah,
obviously we don't want a Swansea win tonight, but good luck for the rest of the season, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you soon. Cheers, Luke.
Good luck for yourselves. We'll see if we see you next season or not, but good luck.
We'll see. Good banter. See you later.
It's all right.
There we go then, John. Let's quickly show that table on the screen because I know kickoff is 11 minutes away. Let's quickly just show you that table there. It's Fulham at the top with 87 points, Bournemouth with 78, Huddersfield 76. Not sure we're being disrespectful, not bringing Huddersfield into this conversation, but they can only get a maximum of 6 points from here. Nottingham Forest on 73, 42 games, taking on Fulham tonight. Luton 72, Sheffield United 69. Big night for the Cherries, John. We've been leading up to this all season. There's a remit in place. We got to do it tonight, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. We have to do it tonight. It's these next 2 games are our best chances. Blackburn may have won the other night comfortably, but they're not really realistically in a shot with the playoffs. Swansea, have nothing but pride to play for. They've got nothing else that's worrying them right now. And Millwall will be fighting for a playoff place when we play them last game of the season. So these next 2 games are the best chances that we'll get to pick up maximum points, and we've got to get the business done.
Great stuff. Cheers, John.
Thanks again.
Thanks also to Luke, who's just left us from the Swans cast. We had Steve from Swansea, including Tom, and Sam as well. But the Cherries take on Swansea very, very soon. Keep an eye on Fulham Forest as well. Tonight, we need to make sure we are brave, but can we just have a little bit about us in the final third and get a Cherries win tonight? Scotty Parker's Barmy Army are going for 3 points in Wales and a step closer to promotion. Thanks for checking out this match preview. Make sure you subscribe if you're new to the channel. Also hit the like button and let us know your thoughts in the comments if you do watch this game afterwards. We'll try and get a reaction to you when we can. And more content coming to you from here until the end of the championship season. Enjoy the game. Let's go, team. Let's go get those 3 points. Thanks for joining us, everyone. From me and John, we'll see you on the next one. Up Cherries.